Hi, my name is Jenson,
And I'm Danielle Martin.
and today we're going to be covering the theory of the message. We're going to be going over the definition of message, aspects of the message through the traditions, and we're going to look at the semiotic tradition, the sociocultural tradition, the socio-psychological tradition, and the phenomenological tradition, as well as we're going to be covering the 5 points that are central to the study of message.
The definition of the message is that the message within communication is defined as information conveyed by words and/or signs and symbols. It is the content of the communication process. It can be made up of verbal, nonverbal, or both. Without the message, there is no mutual agreed upon understanding.
Aspects of the message. When you're looking at the message, we look at the following: how it will be structured and delivered, what words and symbols it will include, and how it will be interpreted. We assume that people understand the meaning of the message, but there are different ways to actually view it. For instance, take the word cat. When one hears the word cat, one person may think of the animal, the cat, perhaps a calico cat or a black cat, while another may think of the construction equipment company, Caterpillar. Now we're going to look at the message through the semiotic tradition. Semiotics helps us to understand what goes into a message, its parts, and how these are organized structurally. It helps us in understanding how the message comes to have meaning. It is a complex relationship among the object, person, and symbol, involving both connotation and denotation. Some of the theories within the semiotic tradition include: first, the symbol theory by Susan Langer, in which she considers symbolism to be the central concern as it underlies all human understanding. The next is theories of nonverbal coding, which are an important element within the tradition. Per Littlejohn and Foss, nonverbal codes are used to convey meaning. And last, the classical foundations of language by Ferdinand Saussure. He states that signs are conventions governed by rules. Therefore, language is a structure, and that language and reality are separate. Language in structural terms is strictly a system of formal relations without substance. Only when meanings are attached to the structural features of language does it come to represent something.
Next, we're going to talk about messages within the sociocultural tradition. Within this tradition, we see the shift that moves to what we do with words and nonverbal codes. This tradition moves us away from individual differences and cognitive processes to social linkage, groups, and meanings that are working out through interaction. Theories in the sociocultural tradition are the speech act theory, which is where you assume the other person knows the meaning of the words, yet knowing the words isn't enough. We must know what you intend to accomplish by using the words. This theory is designated to help us understand how people accomplish things through their words.
Now we're going to look at the socio-psychological tradition and the message. Within the socio-psychological tradition, theories focus more on how individual communicators manage messages. Per Littlejohn and Foss, it tends to be cognitive in orientation and explains how people integrate information and plan messages. It looks at individual strategies and choices for achieving internally established goals of the message. Some of the theories in the socio-psychological tradition are the action assembly theory, which looks at the ways we organize knowledge within the mind and how we use it to form messages. We know about things. We know how to do things. Procedural knowledge takes center stage. It is a complex task and takes time and effort. Constructivism states that individuals interpret and act according to conceptual categories in the mind. Reality does not present itself in a raw form, but must be filtered through a person's own view of seeing things.
Now we're going to look at messages through the phenomenological tradition. Littlejohn states that phenomenological theories, in contrast, see interpretation as a conscious and careful process of understanding. With this, hermeneutics is defined as the careful and deliberate interpretation of text. It is the basis in the study of message.
Now we're going to look at the 5 points that are central to the study of communication. The first one, symbol use is central to human life. Messages are important for transmitting information and influence. Language constitutes the world. Communication is the mechanism by which language and signs are created, maintained, and changed. Symbols do more than represent things. They do more than communicate meanings. Symbols make our social world. The second is the meaning of a message depends upon structural features and interpretive processes. The impact of a message, its meaning, and effects are determined in part by the actual signs, symbols, words, and actions within the message, and in part by the interpretive processes used by the receiver. Third, we communicate with complex message codes. Fourth, message production is made possible by microcognitive and macrocognitive processes. And last, messages are created to meet multiple goals and designed to achieve several levels of meanings.